Great day, attractive thinker. Dr. Toni Hatton here. So delighted to be here with you for another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance. Remember to visit our website, theattractivethinker.guru, and get your free videos. As a break the cycle specialist, I share these mental tools with you. You could be a new entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, or someone who has a dream, a vision, or a goal that you desire to accomplish. You may be a first generational wealth builder, or just doing something in your family or in your bloodline that has never been done before. You need these tools. Welcome my co-host Tichet Bradshaw to another episode of Beyond the Break. Give yourself a fighting chance.
Happy Mindset Monday, everybody. It is such a great day to do what we never did, go where we've never gone, and have what we've never had before. This is our time to win and our time to shine.
Absolutely. Tichet is I'm so delighted to be here with you. You're looking bright and beautiful as usual. Attractive thinkers, remember to click the subscribe button, click the like button, and share this message. You want to share this message because if it's blessing you, it'll bless others as well. And I want you to understand something. These mental tools that we're sharing with you, these conversations that Tichet and I are having, these are resources that you can use in your life to help you get through certain areas and different experiences in your life so that you come out victoriously and not come out, wondering, okay, where do I go from here? Or going through something and coming out and still not knowing your purpose, still not knowing what direction to take. I know what that feels like. We both have been there, Tichet and I, and we want to provide the tools for you so that when you go through your break, be it a heartbreak or a break in a success or whatever that is, a change in your life, some type of transformation, that you don't feel lost. Today, we're going to be talking about you were made to win. That's our topic for today. You were made to win. Now, don't think about the cliche. I know sometimes, I say this a lot when I'm speaking and coaching. Sometimes you can hear something so many times that it loses its effect. And you don't want powerful words to lose their effect. So we're going to go deep and we're going to break that open and really give you an understanding of what that means. You were made to win. Can you imagine that? When I say made to win, think about manufactured to win, wired to win. The way your parts and pieces were put together, they were put together in such a way that no matter what you encounter throughout your journey in life, that you come out victoriously. That's what made to win means. That means even if you experience something in your life, some type of break in your life, and you feel like giving up or you feel like you're done, just go back and look at some of our episodes, those messages that we share. You might feel like you're done. You might feel like giving up. You might feel like you're weak or you can't do it anymore. I don't want to be strong anymore. Even if you encounter those feelings, the way you're wired and made on the inside will trigger your strength. You'll feel your strength renewed. It'll trigger confidence when you need it and courage when you need it. When we talk about you are made to win, we're talking about how you're wired, your parts and pieces, what comes up on the inside of you when you encounter an obstacle, a challenge, a heartbreak. Tichet, talk to our audience. Help them understand what's on the inside of them is so much greater than what's on the outside that they're experiencing.
Yes, the inside is the most important thing. This is where you want to plan your life. You want to shift from trying to build your life externally and start building your life internally, because it's your internal hard drive that will make the difference in the world. It's what's in you that needs to come out. When you live your life externally, you end up living your life as like a shell, and then you build all this stuff. You got all this wealth, you got all these material possessions, but you're empty inside. When you build stuff internally, this time, even if you have the wealth and the material possession, you have built with fulfillment. You have got it with fulfillment, so it feels a little full. It's like eating a meal that is full of nutrients versus eating a meal that really does nothing for your body or your system. When you eat full of nutrient, it gives you energy, it gives you life, right? But when you don't, it takes away from. So when you build your life internally, you have to remember that everything that has happened to you has built you up for now. It has prepared you. It has built character in you. It has exposed some stuff in you that you may want to change. You may want to strengthen. You may want to, delete some things or some people or some stuff out of your life. You may want to strengthen some gifts, some knowledge, some wisdom in your life. You may determine some new loves and things like that in your life. When you go internally, there's a whole new world of endless possibilities that is within you. There's a whole world it's like full of imagination, full of color, full of life, when you go internal, because the possibilities are endless when you are internal. And it gives you that hope that you can possibly win, or what you consider is a win. Everybody has a different idea of what winning looks like. Some people might not like external value as far as winning. Some people might be more of a spiritual person. As long as they got a white room with pillows and some candles or incense burning, they might be okay. And then there's some people who thrive externally. They might be people who need to feel like they have material possessions or having people in their life and things like that, just like introverts and extroverts. Everybody's different, but you have to determine what's a win for you. What feels great to you? What gives you life? What gives you energy? What increases your value? What brings you up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, financially? What builds you up? And when those areas are feeling full and they're well balanced, you can feel the win. You can feel the fulfillment. You can feel the I love this time down. And that's a win when we can look at ourselves and look at the life that we live and say, you know what? I love who I am. I love where I am. I love what I'm doing. I love my life now. And even if I didn't get where I always imagined I would be, the fact that I'm on the way, the fact that I'm in progress is good. The fact that I have a possibility to have all those things is good, and it has to be enough for now. Because when we start looking at our external, if we start looking at our external realities, those things are illusions, most of them. You say it might seem real to you, but really they are what you perceive them to be. Because when you look at external, you're aware of the good and as well as the bad. Some days the bad might be enhanced. Some days the good might be enhanced, depending on how you perceive a thing, and then that affects you internally, which determines how you respond and determines how you live your life, So when we are living internally, you're living by fulfillment. You're living in wisdom and peace, love, joy. You're living in the spirit. You're living for love. You're living out of encouragement and hope. Externally, you're aware of a lot, not just the good stuff, but you're also aware of the wars and the environment, the pandemic. You might not feel fulfilled in the environment you live, and you're so focused on that environment that you forget that your internal hard drive has a system in it that has already had the win in it. Everything you have done in life has already been written on your internal hard drive. Every move that you make has already been placed in your hard drive. So, and when you think about computers, when you're living internally, you make it a point to log into your internal hard drive every day. And what do I mean by logging in? Meaning you don't want to go throughout a day where you're not yourself. You don't want to go throughout a day as anybody else, trying to do stuff for everybody else but yourself. You want to log in and then go out into the world and give them what you have, give them the best of you. But a lot of times when we're living externally, we give people the best of us, but when it comes to us, we give us crumbs and we trying to scrape a little time at the end of the day. But when you live internally, You fill yourself to the overflow. So when you give your best to the world, you're giving out of your overflow, not out of your cup. That's what I believe is the difference between internal and external hard drive.
So Tichet, there's a couple of things that triggered something in me. A couple of things that you said. You said that you mentioned building your life from the inside out. Now, we hear that. We've heard that before. And again, when we hear things over and over and over, sometimes when we don't take action on these things, they lose their effect. And you hear it again and you do nothing about it, and it loses its effect. And then you hear it again, and now you turn a deaf ear to it. It doesn't even affect you anymore. And you hear it again, it's just like normal conversation. It doesn't even trigger you to action. So when we hear these powerful truths, we want to take action on them. And I know sometimes that can be difficult, but sometimes you need things that trigger you, that wake you up in life, that snap you out of it, things that bring you back to life, things that open your hearing, because sometimes when you hear things over, and I want you to understand something, attractive thinker, when you hear something over and over and over and don't see a result, even scripture says hope deferred makes the heart sick. When you hear something over and over and over and you don't reap the results of it, your subconscious mind is turning is developing a bad taste for it. It's building up some resistance towards it because you heard it before and didn't see a result. So it's not going to support you in getting the manifestation of that or reaping the results or reward from that, because you hear it and then nothing happens. That's not going to encourage you to move towards that. Like when we say you were made to win. You may have heard that before, or like Tichet said, building your life from the inside out. You may have heard that before, and you say, well, how do I do that? And because you don't know how to do it, it loses its effect. You don't see the manifestation of it in your life. What are we talking about when we say build your life from the inside out? Meaning, confidence is what wins wars, meaning commitment is what reaches goals. These are some of the things that were coming to my mind while you were talking, to Shet, and I was writing these things down. Courage is what wins the fight. So I mentioned confidence, commitment, and courage. I didn't say money, houses, cars, possessions, influence. I didn't say any of that. So I was talking about the internal things. When you build yourself up on the inside, then it's easy to come out a winner. It's easy to allow your internal wire. Because see, if you build yourself up on the inside, your internal wiring is able to do what it naturally does instead of fighting you to win. You're wired to win, but you're speaking against your victory. You're wired to win, but the way you feel is contrary to a winner, or more than a conqueror. Or you're wired to win, and you don't believe, you've never seen a winner in your life, in your family, in your bloodline, and you have hesitation. It causes you to doubt that you can win because you've never seen that model before. You've never seen the lifestyle of a winner. Now, it doesn't mean some great king or queen or some big to do. The lifestyle of a winner is, as you journey throughout life, you have this model before you. And as they journey throughout life, they encounter things. Life happens to the best of us. And as they encounter things, they know how to handle it. They know what to say. They know how to feel. Number one, they know what they believe. If you go throughout life and you believe that you are a winner, winners handle challenges different from people who don't see themselves as a winner. I want you to understand that. So building your life from the inside out helps you to align with the winner inside of you. Back to you, Tichet.
You were talking about being the first person to win or watching other people win. Either way, your perception makes the difference of how you see it or how you feel with it. Because you can watch people win and still think to yourself, oh yeah, it's easy for them to win. They have something special or something's different in them, where really they only had confidence, like you said. Confidence can go a long way. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't know half the stuff you're talking about, that confidence, it could cause you to rise all the way to the top, believe it or not. when we are as mothers, we don't know everything with our first child. But if you ask that first child, sometimes they'll think we knew everything. We knew what we were doing with our first marriage or our first child or our first job or our first schooling. You think you know what to do when you first walk into a building. So then when you get somebody who's not confident, and let's say you're not the confident one, and you walk into a building, you're not expected to know everything just yet. But the confidence in finding out and learning is what pushes you through. How you show up in the world makes a big difference in the world, and how you present yourself makes the biggest difference, because when you present yourself with confidence, you present yourself with a knowing that I could do this. You present yourself as trustworthy, as somebody who got this no matter what, somebody who we can put our stuff in or put our possessions in or put our business in and know that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. When a person is not confident, you can tell that it equals they have not done the mental work. They don't trust their mental work. When you're not confident in something, it's because you feel like you're lacking something, either lacking information or lacking experience. The confident person may not always have the experience. They might just have the information, or they might have the experience either way, but it's the confidence that makes you not be able to tell the difference. So how do you have confidence when you've never experienced that? You have to really wire yourself for information, rewire your way of thinking. So if you say that a person has been winning and they're special, and I don't have that special thing they have to win, that's a default that might need to change in order for you to win, because you can't push confidence that goes against your beliefs or what you're thinking. It's what you're thinking that's going to pour out of you. So if you think you can, or if you think you can't, either way, you are correct, because what you believe about yourself is what you're going to show. Now, we have people that go on the stage and they are, everything, they put on these shows and it's good. And we can't imagine them being nervous, not realizing they are nervous too. They just put the confidence out there before the fear. So when you allow your confidence to go in front of your fears, you push through what you thought might hold you back. And how do you build that confidence to go towards your fear? You study yourself. You study what's being in front of you. You go after wisdom with all your heart and all your might. You do everything, you give everything you touch 100%. You believe that even if I fail, there's a lesson that comes out of this, and I'm going to get that lesson. So really, there is no failure unless you accept it. There is no loss unless you accept it or unless you give up. So until you give up, you're not losing anything. This is not a loss. Whatever you're going through, this is not a loss. It could be just a restructuring that's needed. It could be an exposure is being done. So you have to assess where you are and what's going on, and just know that you can pull through this. If you're watching the show, you have made it through the last moment, and the moment before that, and the moment before that. And if you over 21, you made it over 21 years. You made it through all of those moments and experiences. You made it through all the news that you was introduced to, the new school, new friend, new house, new street, new city, new country. You went through all those news and you did that thing. So I celebrate you for making it through all those moments. You don't want to get in the habit of not celebrating your little victories along the way and just waiting for that big victory, because you pretty much shoot yourself in the foot when you don't celebrate your little victories, because you don't let yourself know that your little victories mattered. Your little victories along the way is what made you more confident every day. Your little victories is not a disqualification because you didn't make it through to the destination. You're still in progress. You're still on the way. So you celebrate what's around you, what your journey was. You celebrate that journey, because it's the journey that you'll talk about, not the destination. When you go somewhere, sometimes when you go to the destination, yes, you might go and tell a friend your experience with that destination. No, I said the experience, not the destination. You'll tell them what you perceive that experience to be when you got to that destination. But that discussion about your journey getting there is one we leave out sometimes. is one we want to pretend that never happened. We got lost, or, you know, we stopped and had to pull over, and we couldn't see at one time. It was raining, it was pouring. We forget to tell those things that we had to overcome to get to that destination. But those are all the stories that count. Those are all the stories that show bravery. Those are all the stories that show, that you are consistent, that you had perseverance. Those are all the stories that made you you. They exposed you to the type of person you are. You don't know if you're good if you didn't experience a little bad. And let me tell you something, when you experience a little turmoil, you realize how strong you really are. Strength is not given to somebody that's just sitting on a couch all day. Strength is given to somebody who's using those muscles, those mental muscles, those physical muscles. When you're using your muscles, you are building strength. Building muscles is not easy. Sometimes it burns. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it takes you pushing past your limitation, what you think you can do and can't do. Building muscles is never easy. Now, some people might have a certain makeup, that's them. We have people that have certain makeup. It looks like they can win faster than others. But there's the stories that count is the one that pushed against all odds, the one that was a miracle worker, the one that shined the light in the middle of the darkness, the one that showed up in the middle of the darkness and decided to be a light despite being in the middle of the darkness. That's you. You're a light in the middle of darkness. You're a light. Shine your light. If you see that there's an issue, great. What we doing about that issue? Don't just get comfortable in the issue. If there's something you're not happy about and you recognize it, great. If nobody has done anything to it, consider you might be the one to do something about it. Consider you might be the one called to make that change, to make that shift. So if you recognize some pain in the world, become an answer, because that's where you'll make a difference. That's where you'll really let your heart drive shine. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Tichet, that's great. Attractive thinkers, I was thinking while Tichet was talking, you have to start with identity. You have to know who you are. Could it be that you're struggling to win because you're not sure who you are? See, I believe identity, your self-identity is the foundation. It's the starting point before you begin to encounter life and all of its experiences. I want you to think about this for a moment. Think about a superhero. Think about Superman. Him not knowing who he is, and he goes out into the world. How productive could he really be not knowing who he is? Think if he didn't know kryptonite was his weakness and he thought it was candy and he's sitting there eating it, or he thought it was a toy and he's sitting there playing with it. Think if someone around him or something tragic was happening in his environment and he didn't know that he had that superhuman strength, that speed. He didn't know he had the power to do anything about it. Can you imagine how many people would experience, unfavorable outcomes with Superman right there in their presence? I want you to think about that. But when you have clarity, when Superman knows exactly who he is, when situations present themselves, and even before they present themselves, because he knows who he is, he can anticipate. I want you to think about that. He can anticipate things happening before they actually happen. So with him having the power to, first of all, with him understanding who he is and understanding his power to intercede and prevent and block and allow different things to happen in his experience and other people's experiences whose lives he's here to save, it creates a winning experience because he already knows he's a winner. I remember watching a superhero movie one time, and this particular superhero was just discovering that he had superpowers. He didn't know that he could win. He didn't know he was wired to do great things. And in him talking, just standing outside talking to someone, a mugging or someone was being robbed, maybe a block away, but he heard the scream. And because he was learning who he was, the person he was talking to had to nudge him and push him and say, "That's you, dude. That's your call." When you hear somebody screaming, you're supposed to run to it. Most of the time when you hear somebody scream, people will run away. from the incident. But because he's Superman, because he's a superhero, or he's wired to win and he knows it, you run towards the trouble or the problem because you know you're the solution. See, that perception right there, understanding who you are, and having the understanding that your proper place in life, it changes the game. So your experiences and your challenges, circumstances, they don't have to change. But if you change your perception about who you are, number one, let's back up off of the circumstance for a minute. Life just is. It happens to the best of us. But you have to, like Tichet said, when you build your life from the inside out, you know who you are. And just knowing who you are, you know how to handle the situation. You know how to take that situation and shape it and mold it and manipulate it in such a way that you come out victorious. I want you to understand that. You might say, well, Dr. Toni, yes, I came out of the situation. I did the very best I could. I had faith. I tried to, shape it in such a way that the outcome was victorious, but it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Just because it doesn't turn out the way that you wanted it to doesn't mean it didn't turn out in victory. I want you to understand that we don't know everything. And I'm speaking from my heartbreak, my life experience, and, different places and points in time in my life where I experienced a break. Yes, the outcome did not, if we had our way, our lives would be totally different. We'd be experiencing all kinds of things that wasn't even in the plan. It's not to our benefit. We'd be experiencing things and calling things into our life that don't fulfill us, that don't have meaning. We'd be living these crazy lives thinking because we have this, that, and the other, or we've experienced this, that, and the other, that was supportive of our highest potential. We don't know everything. We don't know everything about ourselves. We don't know everything about God, our creator, who created us to win. He made us to win. And we're still discovering who we are. We're still discovering the winner in us. So you can't say, well, if the outcome, the result, even though it didn't turn out favorable, that it didn't turn out victorious. You can't say that because you don't know everything. You don't know all the parts and pieces. Your outcome that you look at as not turning out favorable could have been a victory for someone else. There are people watching how you go through life. They're watching your walk. They're watching how you handle your experiences. And the way you handle this experience that you're talking about right now, that thing that you may have just come out of, or you are experiencing it right now, the way you're handling it, somebody is being strengthened as a result. See, victory doesn't just mean for you. The outcome, the win, is not just for you. When you have a broader view, a broader perspective of your life and who you are, just showing up is winning for someone else. Just showing up, people see you as strength, as confidence and courage. Have you ever had people in your circle and they invited you to something and you weren't all that excited about going, and they didn't really want you to come for anything other than just your presence? Because your presence soothes them, your presence calms them, your presence makes them feel like everything is going to be okay. So that situation that you went through, it deposited that kind of aura in your spirit. It deposited that kind of power and that electrifying, magnetizing energy that you have, that heals people, that calms people, that brings clarity to people, that dispels the confusion when you're in their presence. Don't you think that's a victory? Do you look at that as a win? Yes, the outcome that we desire may not turn out the way we want it to, but there were some deposits in your spirit that were made just because you went through that, just because you came out of that. Do you recall the story of Peter stepping out of the boat and walking on water And even though he lost focus a little bit and began to sink, and of course, Jesus saved him, when he got back to the boat, I want you to understand this, attractive thinker. See yourself stepping out of the boat. You stepped out of the boat. You had the faith. You were courageous. You believed in yourself, and you stepped out of the boat. And for a moment, you had that experience of walking on water, which is priceless. But you lost focus and fear set in, and you began to sink. You weren't utterly destroyed. You didn't drown. You made your way back to the boat. Do you know that you have an experience in life that the people that stayed on the boat don't have? And all of you are now in the boat, and when you get to the shore and you go about your life, do you know there's something that was deposited in your spirit that they will never have? Do you know that's what sets you apart? The experience that you had, the experience alone was victory. The experience alone, only winners experience those kinds of things. I want you to think about that. There's more than one way to win. Tichet, we need to talk about that. That's a topic right there. There is more than one way to win, attractive thinker. And I want you to just take a breather, relax a bit, and take that sigh and release all of that worry and anxiety. Release that perception that you have. Just let it float away with the wind. Just let it go. And shift your lens and start seeing the victory from that experience. Start seeing the greatness. Start seeing the strength. Start seeing how your eyes were open to a new perspective, a new way of living, a new world, a new way of existing and showing up in the world. Start focusing on how much clarity you have on your purpose now. Look at how clear your direction is. That's a win. You are wired to win, and winning doesn't always mean the outcome. Back to you, Tichet.
That is so true. How we think of a thing, I mean, I don't know how many times we can say it. The way you perceive a thing really makes a difference, because the way you think of it, how you analyze it, and the outcome that you think you got from that experience, you determine whether it's a win or not just by your perception. Because there were so many situations that I thought was a loss, but when I got more information and more clarity, and I got really clear on what it did, the outcome was a lot greater than what I thought it was. It was not only a win, but it became what we would call an overflow, something that I can give, something extra. It became a gift as well, because some stuff is not just for us, like you said. Some stuff is, okay, think about it this way. We are all pieces of a bigger puzzle. We're all pieces of a bigger picture. You're getting this one, you're getting that one, she's getting this one, he's getting that one. We all have different pieces. We can't judge our piece because it doesn't look like their piece. And you can't judge their piece because it doesn't look like our piece. You figure out who goes where. What do you have to offer? You said something about when you go to a party, you have to show up. When you show up, who are you showing up as? Are you showing up as the person that you've been working on, that you've been exposing yourself to, the person you've been getting to know? Or are you showing up as the person they wanted you to be? Because how you show up in the world makes a difference to how you experience it. And the way you experience it will help your perception of it, but your perception will help your experience, which is like a cycle all over again. So it's important to try to find out who you are first, and then once you find out who you are, you realize you're this great person, and you have so much to offer. And that everything that was put in you and everything that happened for you was really for your benefit. It might have hurt, but it was still for your benefit. Look how far you've come. Look at what you made it through. Look at what you got going on, and if it's not the outcome that you want to have right now, just wait a little while. You'll see the fruits of that. You'll see the fruits of your pain. Because trouble don't last always. I know we go through stuff and we get through it. We look at all this stuff going on in this world, and it does not last always unless you think it is. Unless if you think that trouble lasts always, then it will last always. Your default really does make a difference in how you see it. Your default thinking, where did it come from? Did it come from you talking to other people? Did it come from you sitting in silence? Did it come from you reading books? Did it come from your experience? Did it come from you knowing that you were different? Because some of us came different, but we judged it because we wanted to fit in. But fitting in was never an option because there was something special in us that wouldn't allow us to fit in. We fit somewhere, we do. We just don't fit in everywhere. And we have to know that everywhere is not for you. Everybody's experience is not for you. Everybody's story is not yours. Yours is your story, and it's okay. You just have to, when the moment arrives, be the best you can be, do the best you can do, and just try your hardest to not give up in the process. We were designed to win. We were designed to win, definitely. And to me, that means at the end of this life, you have all the gems, the jewels, the tools. You have left behind something that people can learn from you. You have left behind a legacy. You left behind stories that people can learn from, things that your family can benefit from. You know, your children might not have to go through this because you went through that. And because you went through that, you closed the door on your children going through it, on your bloodline going through it. You closed the door. It was never presented to people before you. All of the people before you just didn't even know what to do when it was presented. But you, it stopped with you. Why? Because it made you so miserable you wasn't going to do it ever. This was not acceptable to you. And the reason why it wasn't acceptable to you is because you were called to stop it. You were called to put a stop to it. If you get to a road and you see that there's no path there, you didn't just turn around and just say, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to go back because, you know, it's no road here. What do we do now? You didn't say that. You said, oh, no, we getting over here. What? You start looking for paths. You know, this is why I call out pathfinders, because y'all will find a path no matter where you are. You're going to find your way to where you're going, or you going where you're going, and nothing is going to stop you. You will have blood, sweat, and tears, but you're going to get where you're going. When times go hard, you go harder. Pathfinders, trailblazers, groundbreakers. When times go hard, you rise up. It rises you to the occasion. It shows you who you are. When Superman heard the cry, he didn't cower. He went towards it, like you said, Dr. Toni. He didn't question, oh, I wonder if I can do that. He said, I got it. And he just had his confidence, knew where he had to do to get to his default personality, and then go and do what he got to do. He didn't walk around with that cape all day. He put it on when it was necessary. Some of us feel like we had to go through our whole life wearing capes, and now you're tired. Of course you're tired. There's a time where you don't have to wear that cape all the time. Sometimes common sense and simplicity will do. But it's knowing when to put that cape on that makes all the difference in the world. It's knowing how to see yourself. It is okay to be you. It really is. However you are, it is okay to be you. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to make it through what people who before you didn't make it through. It's okay to have more than what your friends or your family wanted. It's okay to do more. It's okay to do too much. It's okay to do too much if that's what your life requires. It is okay to be you. And knowing that is the start. Knowing that it's okay to have your thoughts and have your feelings and have your desires. Knowing that it's okay is the start, because everybody's desires are not the same. Your desires and my desires are different. What I want for my life, you might not like. It might not be your cup of tea, but we don't judge it. We just be okay with what we got going on, and whoever we can help, we can help. Whoever we can, we dust our feet off and keep going. We are not here for everybody. Your gift is not sent for everybody. So when you go serving your gift to people who don't appreciate it, who don't like it, who don't want it, of course you're going to think you lost. Of course you're going to think you're sitting here and you feel like a failure. You just served your food. You just served meat to a vegetarian. Of course. You just said vegetarian to a strong meat eater. So it depends on where, it depends on knowing confidently who you are, and then knowing where you fit, knowing where to serve what you have to offer. Not, and then when you go through stuff, Dr. Toni, you say this so many times on other episodes, I am not going through this for nothing. If I have to cry, it's going to be for something. I'm going to get something out of this. That is determination and perseverance all the way. It's saying, okay, this is rough. Yeah, this is tough, but I'm going to get something out of it. You best believe it. It got to be a jewel, a lesson, or a blessing. I'm going to get something out of all of this because I will not be in pain. I will not be in pain and it be in vain. I'm not going to go through life and just woe is me. I'm going to build something of this. If I get lemons, I'm going to make lemonade. I'm going to take it and it's going to be the best lemonade, and I'm going to have more than enough to share. But it becomes knowing who you are, being okay with who you are, stepping out, logging in, showing up with who you are. It starts with all of that. But who you are is built in a time of getting to know yourself. It's built in a time of knowing you like this and don't like that. So all of the negativity that you go through and all of the darkness that you went through and all of the stuff that just wasn't wanted, all that stuff caused you to understand what you wanted and what you didn't want. All that stuff caused you definition. It helped you to build that muscle a little bit more because darkness, it enhances the light. And light will be light no matter where it's at. You have to literally snuff out or turn off the light for it not to shine. If you lit a match in a dark room, that match will shine. Light will be light. So just, if you are different than everybody else and you find your world is dark, then be the light in it. What would you want to hear? What would you want someone to say to you? What would you want to build for that? What is the outcome? And if you can't figure out what's the outcome, sit to yourself a little bit. Study yourself a little more. It'll come to you in the spirit, because when you build internally, answers will come indefinitely. Back to you, Dr. Toni.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Attractive thinkers, I know that you had your attractive thinker notebook and pen handy, because Tichet just dropped some serious gems. And I trust that you have captured them, because you're going to need them along the rest of your journey. I want you to understand that there was something that came to me, Tichet, while you were talking, and I said, I don't want the attractive thinkers to leave this message without understanding this. You know, when you go through some type of break, or you're experiencing some type of experience or circumstance in your life that, you know, you're going through at this particular time, when you're coming out of it, or you may even be out of it, newly out of it, I don't want you to spend the rest of your life, I don't want you to live trying to find the victory in that thing, because the level of victory, the innumerous opportunities for victory or manifestations of victory are endless, are endless. What will happen is it will come to you as you go. It will come to you as you go. So don't waste your time sitting there like, I can't move until I find out where the victory is in this, or I can't take that next step, or I can't do this or do that, or move on with my life until I find out why this had to happen. You may not know exactly why this had to happen that way, but as you go, the lessons, the blessings, the gems, the value of what you've been through, you'll be able to experience that. It will reveal itself to you as you go. And I just want you to know, attractive thinker, that you were made to win, and that will never change. No matter what you go through, that will never change. Your situations can't change how you're wired. The manufacturer put that in and set that in stone. It just is. So no matter what you go through, I want you to understand you're wired to win. And there are endless ways for you to win in any given situation. You have to step back, get a broader view. You have to trust. Sometimes in my life, when I was experiencing the experiences of breakdown and disappointment, I had to Take a deep breath and step back and remember who I was. Do you know remembering who you are is half the battle? You've already won the game when you remember who you are. Think about that and allow the experience to unfold. Allow the experience to reveal itself to you because our experiences help us to understand. They give us that thing that's missing in our lives, our identity. They help us to understand who we are. I want you to think about that and never ever forget you were made to win. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your break the cycle specialist and identity coach. If you're struggling to discover who you are, book a clarity session. www.clarity.theattractivethinker.guru. Give yourself a clarity session, whereas you lay it on the line. You want clarity in a certain area. And who am I? Or what's going on with this experience? Or how do I reach this goal? And we'll spend time together. And as a break the cycle specialist, we'll begin to see some things on a deeper level because the very thing you think that's holding you back, that's not it. That's not it at all. You got to go a little bit deeper because it's the deep things that control and really manipulate and unfold the surface things. What you see on the surface is not even real. So stop poking. Stop poking at it and twisting it and turning it and trying to find answers in it. It's not real. The real issue is under the surface. Tichet, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you, the visual encourager.
Absolutely. You can find me on my website at www.visualencouragement.com. We provide mental support for movers and shakers, trailblazers, pathfinders, and groundbreakers. People who desire to lift the heaviness by moving mountains so that they can create a new vision for themselves. Go to my contact us page, put in your information, let me know how I can uplift you, ignite you, and encourage you so that you can live a life of fulfillment. www.visualencouragement.com.
Attractive thinkers, you hear us say it all of the time. My life's work, that's to make your life better. Remember, it is not what you're going through, it's how you're dealing with it. Think attractively, and we'll see you soon.